Real people, real breakthroughs. This is the Psychology of Eating podcast, where psychology and nutrition meet to uncover the true causes of our unwanted eating concerns. Your relationship with food will never be the same. Now, here's your host, eating psychology expert, and founder of the Institute for the Psychology of Eating, Marc David.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Marc David, founder of the Institute for the Psychology of Eating. And here we are in Eating Psychology Podcast. Thanks so much for being here. Welcome, and welcome to Ariel. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you as well, Marc.
So this is our follow-up session. I'm almost forgetting how long it's been. It's been a bunch of months.
It feels like a good, almost 6 months.
Yeah, which is, on the one hand, it's kind of like forever.
Feels like it.
Lifetimes happen in that short period of time. So why don't you just give me an update? How have you been doing since that session? Any insights? Where are you at with food and body since then?
I feel like I'm lifetimes away from that past 6 months. I remember when I was talking to you about my relationship with sugar, and that I was really just feeling, bad around that. And coincidentally, looking back, I was also just kind of I was living in a place that didn't feel good, and I was had all this ambiguity and uncertainty in my life. And not to say that's bad, that happens, but seeing where I am now, I went through a very transformational program, 6-month program, working on my sexuality, and really just looking at all the areas where I hold fear of fully opting into my life, and looking into those places and going through them, and they would say alchemizing it into power. And it was an incredibly intense 6 months. But right now I find myself basically everything that isn't resonant with who I am, I set the intention to just let it fall away, because I want to be living a life that everything I do just feels good. It's my heart and soul just saying yes. And I have that now. And it's it's continuing to unfold. But when I look at my life, it's just oh my God, it's filled with so many beautiful things. And the interesting part is, I was always looking for okay, so what's going to inspire me to take care of my body? What is it going to take? And I'm finding that for the first time, it's I feel I see my purpose. It's not this what am I looking for? What is my purpose? But now I actually have this thing that I can plug into. I've started working for a medicinal cannabis collective that's very much about solution-based medicine, organic, local, sustainable, getting it from farmers, and just the healing powers of this plant. And I get to be a part of bringing consciousness into that realm, and offering this medicine to people. And it's something that I can plug into. And I've been noticing that as that's become more a part of my life, my desire to opt into my body has really increased. I'm wanting to exercise more. I want to feel strong in my body. And I'm still eating sugar, don't get me wrong, because I want to find a way to work with it that doesn't feel it's all or nothing. I really want to be able to be conscious, or I want to be conscious around the decisions that I'm making, and be able to say yes to it sometimes, and also be able to say no to it. But yeah, seeing what my life is now and what I have in it has definitely affected my desire to take care of my body.
To me, that's so fascinating, because it's, if I would put that in my words, it's now there's a real purpose to take care of the body on a certain level. If I don't know who I am, if I don't know what I want to be, if my life doesn't have firm grounding, then I might not want to have firm grounding with my body. I mean, it only makes sense. As I'm more fully here, as I'm more engaged, let me engage the body too.
Well, it makes sense. And also, I felt I felt I kept putting it off, because right now I don't even feel fully at home in the place where I'm living. It still doesn't feel like home, but I feel I kept putting off, I'll start taking care of my body once I do this, once I do that. And it's how can you keep putting off the most important thing, was the way I was thinking. But it really does feel like a shift has occurred. So, like, yes, I agree with what you're saying.
Hmm. Sometimes I wonder when you say, okay, so the shift has occurred, if you could go back in time and if you would have been able to just bring the awareness that you have right now to go back in time to help make that shift happen 2 years ago or 5 years ago, would you do anything different? What would you say to that yourself, 3,
Mm.
4, 5 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that everything has happened and will continue to happen exactly as it is meant to unfold because I think, it's not like, oh, I've started this medicinal cannabis collective job and now like my work with people around food and body and sexuality just falls to the wayside. Like, no, that's not true. It's all integrates, it's all connected. And I really believe that like I needed to have this struggle and I need to continue to have this journey because like it's like the wisdom that I can offer to other people. And I also think for me it keeps me grounded. It might like this might sound silly, but like I feel like if I just had it easy with my body, because I had it easy in so many other areas of my life, like I'm smart, I'm intelligent, I'm funny, like I'm a great people person, but like I feel like my relationship with my body has what's kept me humble.
Hmm. There's one thing that you mentioned before that I want to pick up on. You said, talking about sugar and where you're at with it now, you said, "Hey, I don't want to make this an all or nothing thing." And I just think that's so, so, so important because it just seems like when we make something all or nothing, it's kind of like a setup. It's kind of like a setup for, okay, I'm doing nothing now, but all is right around the corner, just waiting to come through. I think it says something about us when we can find a way to live life with some of the forbiddens, whatever they are, where we can integrate them and kind of not make them the enemy.
Totally. Well, when you say that, what it really makes me think of is how much work I've done around dropping into my feminine over the past 6 months, because I think so many of us, like, we live in a world that's very like, you need to achieve this. There's a certain way that you do these things. This is how you do it, like achieve goals, accomplishment. And it's very masculinely oriented. And to me, doing an all or nothing around food, again, is another way of trying to control something that isn't meant to be controlled.
Mm.
And dropping into the feminine, it's been like there is no pure black, there is no pure white, and like this is uncomfortable, this like flow of like not being able to have a finite like way of doing things, but it's what feels true, and being able to be comfortable with like there is no specific roadmap for like how to take care of my body except for what feels true to me, and being able to trust that in the face of like what you speak about, the million and one diets that exist out there.
Mm. Ariel, I'm going to make a statement. Tell me if this is true or false for you or somewhere in between. It feels like you trust yourself more these days.
Oh, immensely, immensely. And it's through my body. Like I've become very clear, like on what my body feels like when I feel like I'm making the decision that's right for me. It's like this expansiveness. Whereas like if I feel like I'm going against myself, like I feel this contraction in my body. So I've gotten very good at listening to like what my body is saying to the decisions that I'm making.
Mm. Now, do you think that's just part of your natural progression, your natural evolution? Where's that trust been coming from?
In all honesty, I've been doing a practice called orgasmic meditation,
Hmm.
which it's a practice involving clitoral stroking. Which, if you're interested, you can check it out. It's one taste, but really getting into like um, it's like, again, like you speak on sexuality as well. It's one of the most stigmatized things in our culture, and especially for women, the idea of like receiving pleasure, it's more so thinking about the other person's experience. But through this practice, it's like required me to just sit back and actually notice the feelings in my body when I'm just focusing on myself. And through that focused attention of just feeling like I've been able to actually like see how my body feels when I'm not distracting myself with what are they thinking of me? What are they thinking of me? How is he liking this? Like it's really about what I'm feeling in my body. And that's been like immensely powerful. And it doesn't just have to be through orgasmic meditation. It can be through like any experience you have and just noticing what's true.
I was thinking that as you were talking, it's it applies to everything. It applies to food. You know, it's so easy to be in the act of sex, in the act of pleasure, in the act of food, in the act of just being with your friend. And, you know, it's easy to be somewhere else. You know, it's easy to not be in my body, to not feel what I'm feeling, and to get present. Wow. You know, sometimes it's a little bit of a revelation.
Yeah. And like the other thought that just comes up for me is like, like this feeling of like we're always kind of putting our life on hold until we have this ideal set of circumstances. And it's like once I have all these things lined up, like then I'll choose to be in my body. But like to an extent, it's like being willing to be with all the discomfort and know that it's safe and know that it's okay and start feeling like now. So you can start like steering your ship.
Hmm. Well, I'm really psyched for you. You
Thank
know,
you.
it's you feel like a different human. You feel more here, um, and yeah, you just feel more aligned with yourself. And I keep feeling this term for you, just trust. It just feels like you trust in yourself. It just feels like you believe in yourself more, and that's obviously a testament to everything you're doing in your life to move you in that direction.
Yeah, it's the most important thing to me. And I think the other piece that's been really important, like, you graduate from either the eating psychology program or any coaching program, and then all of a sudden you go out there and it's like, oh, I'm marketing myself. Like I'm like putting myself out there. And it's like part of what's been so powerful about working in the medicinal cannabis collective. And you can do this with coaching as well, but it's like what you're offering is not yourself. It's like something that you feel so aligned with and just like, oh my God, this needs to be brought into the world. And it feels so good to be able to like offer something like other than, oh, here's me. It's like this is this thing that just like I want you to experience because like it's healing and it's health and like it's going to bring you back more to yourself. And it feels so good like to be a part of that. And that definitely helps with me trusting myself more.
Good for you. Well put. Um, Let me ask you a bit of a selfish question here. Anything from our last session that kind of, stuck for you in particular that you were carrying over that maybe was helpful, useful, inspirational?
I think and I don't remember the exact wording, but the biggest thing for me is like, I was going into that session wanting you to tell me how, like, it was like I was going in because I wanted you to talk about my relationship with sugar. And I don't remember exactly what you said, but it was more just like, don't worry so much about the sugar. It was just, like just be curious, like just notice. And I really appreciated that because, I went to like, I'm a coach, so I feel like it's good for me to have a coach. So I went to a coach last week for our first session, and he just wanted me to like cut out sugar, cut out gluten, and like you should do this for yourself. And I was just like I don't know if that's like the right way to go about it for me, and I don't know if that's how I would work with a client. Like I think I'd really like want to feel where they're at and not like give them this agenda that isn't in alignment with them. And I just really appreciated it's like it's not even about the sugar. So you took like the charge off of like me working with the sugar and instead just like gave me some perspective. And that was really helpful.
Good. I'm glad. Thanks for mentioning that because I think that's so important, and this is just for everybody tuning in right now. We get so focused on what we think is the problem. We think sugar is the problem. We think, whatever is the food that we can't control, we think it's the problem, but it's really talking to us. It's just in a conversation, and it might be dominating the conversation. But I'm always interested in, okay, let's just get interested in this and strip away all of the, oh my God, I can't believe you're eating so much sugar, or oh my God, what's your problem, or what's your issue, and really see what it's saying, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And when we can do that, there's this automatic relaxation, which automatically makes me less want to, just kind of dive on top of the sugar, because there's not so much of a charge, and all of a sudden there's more spaciousness, there's more relaxation, and we can start to kind of question and notice and feel, and then make small changes.
Mm-hmm. I
So,
agree.
so yay for you.
Thank you.
What do you think is a next place for you where you feel like you're moving to when it comes to your relationship with food, and where you want to be with that?
Um, I really feel like I'm coming to a place where like strengthening my body is the next step. I've always kind of battled with this idea. It's like, oh, I want to strengthen my body. It's like, and I want to look like awesome, and not to say that I don't, but kind of like the judgment of like, oh, like I feel great now, but like my body feels like when I'm just completely like relating to food in a healthy way and like living my life, like, oh, like it could probably be a little bit lighter. And I finally feel like I'm in a place where like I'm ready to strengthen my body, because it's not just about like what my body looks like. It's like I want to feel strong. I want to feel strong in my body. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm finally in a place where like, oh, like I'm exercising my body and it feels good, whereas before I looked at it as like just like I didn't want to do it. So I feel like my next step is like what you said. It's like I remember this one blog article you wrote. It's like eating for a purpose or something like that. It's like eating for your highest self. And I feel like for the first time, it's like I see this really amazing road that I get to walk down, and it's like I want to be clear for it, and I want to like I want to nourish myself so I can show up for it fully. So that's where I feel like I am.
Mm-hmm. As you were describing that, you were just kind of getting in your body too. I mean, I just noticed, like, I want to feel strong, and it's just
Uh-huh.
like you were just kind of like getting those words into your cells, and it really is, to me, like sometimes it's this feeling that drives us. It really feels like there's an inspiration that's driving you so much more that you're in contact with, and that's been part of you probably forever. It's just sometimes these little voices in us need a little more airspace to breathe and to come out.
Mm.
So I think it's less that I have to, I have to motivate myself to do something. It feels like you just kind of peeled away some things, and all of a sudden, here's this energy.
Mm-hmm. And that's like, I'm 28 now, and like about like a year ago, I started to realize like, oh, I've been like rushing a lot and
Mm-hmm.
feeling like I need to get everywhere. And I remember in my younger 20s, people were like, oh, you're just in your 20s. You just want everything to happen now. And I feel like I'm finally starting to slow down and like seeing that the timing of everything is perfect. And like I'm grateful for my entire process up to this, and looking at the story in reverse, like to see how I got to this point. Like I see how it's all perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So I really trust the timing of things, and it's been so amazing to just like not try and force, because most likely if I'm forcing, it's like it's not the right time or it's not the right configuration, and being able to trust in that.
Mm. Well, Miss Ariel, I am so celebrating you and so celebrating your journey, and it's just great to see how far you've come and how far you keep going. I'm honored, and congrats.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. And
And
thank you for this opportunity.
yeah, it's such fun. And, for those of you who didn't see Ariel's first session, check it out. It would kind of be interesting for you to do the same thing, just to kind of watch that
Oh my
conversation
goodness, that
in
is
like the
surreal.
video format. I'm telling you, it's two different humans. It's you've obviously been kind of embracing so much life for yourself, and that feels for me like it's such a big piece for you. You really, to me, you embrace life, even when it's a little scary. And it just feels like there's more and more of a yes in there, like yes to life, yes to life. And when there's that yes, it just, at some point, it just starts to get sweeter,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm experiencing that in this moment. Or just in
Yay.
general. Yeah.
Yay. Well, good for you, Ariel. Thank you so, so much.
Yeah, thank you.
And thanks everybody for tuning in. Once again, I'm Marc David on behalf of the Psychology of Eating podcast. And as always, there's lots more to come, my friends. Take care. I hope this was helpful. Thanks for listening to the Psychology of Eating podcast. To learn more about the breakthrough body of work we teach here at the Institute for the Psychology of Eating, please sign up for our free video series at ipe.tips. That's I for Institute, P for Psychology, E for Eating.tips, TIPS. You'll learn about the cutting-edge principles of dynamic eating psychology and mind-body nutrition that have helped millions of people forever transform their relationship with food, body, and health.